Page 50, Written in the Stars. It's from a Walt Disney production. 4/4 times C major, at least it starts in C major. We'll see what happens. Right hand first. Let's deal with this rhythm and some fingering, and we got some awkward stuff going on here. At the beginning's not bad, it's just a half note C. The melody's the top note. If you can, bring that out, see? And then you gotta go all the way up here. Now when you're first figuring this stuff out, forget the rhythm. Just work on the notes and the fingering and kind of get this. I'm going to kind of combine it in the video, but when you're figuring it out yourself, you may want to forget the rhythm and just get the notes first. But here we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So starting up here, this B3 is 3 and then it's tied to 4. Because take out the ties and you get 3 and 4. That's the way it is. We're just tying it. 3 and 4, and then the 16th notes come on the end of 4. 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and on the 16th notes, if you're going to do 3 5, you still want the second finger on the F. I prefer 4 5, whichever, because in the next chord, then you can do a 1 3 5 if you want. It just makes it a little easier. So the first measure again is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And so work that out and then keep going. Second measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 as it's tied again. It's kind of confusing sometimes when they use the same curved line to mean many different things, because in this first line, the curved line in each measure, there's 2 of them, one for a tie and one for a slur to connect them. But we deal with it. Second line, here, watch his fingering. Isn't that fun? But I mean, there's other fingers you can use, and you can experiment to see if you can find a fingering you like better. Well, we want just do the best you can with the melody. That's what we're after here. Now another finger, because I like to try and move my hand around as little as possible, and in this measure you're moving it twice. You hear, and then again, move it once. Now move it again. I could get away with one hand move by doing here. If I do a 2 3 4, 4, and then a 2 5, I catch all of that in one hand movement, and then I can move up to that one. So here, and then move again, but you got an 8th rest, and then again. Let's look at the rhythm here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and. See that second measure? That 1 and a 1 and. I'm just going 1 and I put it in between. 1 and 2. Real slow on the second measure. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and again 1 E and that part we're okay. 1 E and the D, the 8th note, that comes on 2. 1 E and 2 E and 2 E and 2 and 1 and 2 and then hold the half notes down while you play the G sharp. Tricky. Going on 16th notes, 1 E and 1 E and 2 E and 3E and 4E and or just count 1 and 2 and know the 16th notes are in between them. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Tricky. It's just got a lot of syncopation in there. It's like third line, second measure here. That B, you want to hear a 3 and 4 and. That's what you want to hear. The B coming on 4. Just play a little quicker than that, a little sooner than 4. 3 and 4. And this stuff is all over the place. So a lot of what you're going to find in here I've already covered on this page. Because it's like this last line is similar to the second line. So if you got that, you got that. Over on page 51 at the beginning, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But watch the fingering. Starting at the top of page 51, it's here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now thumb. Watch the fingering, it's 4, 5. 1 and 2. And then lift up. New phrase, and there's a rest, so it's 4. Now 1, 3 in the next measure. We're protecting the melody, and then go on 2, 4. And I like that fingering. Try that out. It protects the melody. And I'll go along with that. So again, the second line, 1, 3, 1, 3, and then 1, 4, 1, 5, 2, 4, and then 1, 3, 5. Now 3 again. You lift up the 3, keep the other other fingers down, just go up here. You kind of have to move, you can't really connect this too well. So we're relying on the pedal to help us out there, but I can feel most of this melody and I like that. Then you just add the rhythm to it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and. Next line, similar to what we've had before. You look at the second line on page 50. It's similar. The first, well, it starts out similar. It's sort of similar, maybe a little. So it's again they got this fingering going that they want. I prefer the 1, 2, 4. And then a 2, 4, and then come up, and then 4. So it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Now hold it down. It's similar but different. Well, and then the last line you've had before. The last line is similar to the top line on page 51. And then on page 52, you get basically the same stuff you've already had. I think I've covered most of this stuff already. A few little differences might be like on page 52, third line down. It's sort of the same thing. It's a variation of that. So it's 1. You've had. No. So third line down, the last 2 beats, or the last beat, I should say, in the last measure, you have here 2/8 notes. This leads in to the next line. So the bottom line is 1 and 2 and 3 and. And I prefer a 1, 3 for the DB. Last measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and then I do a 1, 4, 2, 5. Then at the top of page 53, after these pickups at the bottom of 52, here, then move up. here. And they're fingering 1-5 to 1-4 to 1-5, then a 4, and then one. I would do another 1-5 here, and a 3-2 right there. And then for the last 2/8 notes in that measure, I would do a 1-3, 2-4, and then a 2-5, a 1-4, 1-5, 4, 1-2-4. Did you get all that? And then at the end, the last 2/8 notes is 1-2-3, 1-4, and that prepares us for the 2-5 in the next measure. I'm just trying to, I want to feel the melody. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1E and a 2E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and. Is that too fast? 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. Work it out as slow as you have to and just gradually speed it up. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's the melody. And then the bottom note with 2-5. 1 and 2 and. And then come down to 1, 2, 3, and then next line, second line is 2-5. 1 and 2 and 3. 1E and a 2E and a 3E. It's tied to 3E and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. And then third line, 2-5, 1. And the lift up, it's an 8th rest. Finally, quarter notes. There is a heaven. Then the next line, the first ending, and then the lift up. I do a 1-3-5 to a 1-2-4. And then down again a 4-5, 2, and then a 1-3-5. And then down here. The last one is an FA. Then you repeat back over on the other page. Now let's pretend we've done that already, and now we get here again, we skip the first ending and take the second. It starts out the same here. And again, 1-3-5, 1-2-4, and then lift up 1-2-5. We want this. So again, the second ending, the last measure of the fourth line there. 1, 2, 3 and 4, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then bottom line, second measure, I do a 1, 2, 3. That's a B flat, a C, and an E flat. And then they do a 2, 3, 5. I just do a 1, 2, 4. They do that on the second one. I do it on both. And then the last measure is 2, 3, 5. And then that chord is written here, but VA sends it up here, and it's rolled. And I play the bottom note on the beat there. Although you're slowing down, and when you start slowing down like that, you almost lose the beat, so it doesn't matter at that point. And all that mess with the right hand. Of course, most of the hard part of this is the right hand, and it's kind of important that you take however much time you got to take to get the fingering and the rhythms worked out with the right hand, because the left hand is doing other stuff, other rhythms, other things going on. Speaking of left hand, page 50, let's just cover this rhythm. The rhythm at the beginning is throughout most of it, and it is the dotted rhythm on the first beat. 1E and a 2E and, or 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. That's just all voice. I mean, different notes, but the rhythm is there. Look at the third line, or the second line down here, but then the second measure of the second line. Here, E. Now, third line is A. I do third finger on the A. They say fourth. Fourth is fine if that's what you want. So the third line, let's do this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. We got that anticipation again. 4 and. It's right. You want to hear 3 and 4 and. That's what you want to hear. Okay, let's go over to page 52. Again, the rhythm is staying pretty much the same. The notes are moving around. They're changing a bit on you. Take the third line down, for instance. Here, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And up here, it's better for you to learn to do this without looking at the keyboard, because you need to focus on the right hand of all that nonsense going on up there. So try and get this left hand as automatic as you can. So last line on page 52, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Then fourth finger on that B, because we're coming up here. Again, this accommodates being able to move around without looking down at the keyboard. You're feeling your way, so that fourth finger comes in handy. And then at the last measure, thumb on that last E, so you can go down. You do want to be able to do this without looking. You really do. And then at the top of page 53, look out, this is not an octave. You want to go here? No, it's here. And you can use 3 on the C if it'll help you. Sometimes I do, because I can roll. I don't have to cover all of these at one time, as I'm saying. The hand, I just cover in here to here, and then I can move the hand up to cover here. And then thumb. And finally, a different rhythm. Isn't that nice? Top of page 53, second measure. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Well, that's a switch. Then the next line you've had, and the next line you've had, and at the bottom you're back to this rhythm again with the octaves. Let's go down to the bottom line at the bottom of page 53, because that's bottom lines are usually at the bottom. Again, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, this chord, even eighth notes. And I do a 4-1 and then a 5-1 if you want, or 5-2, however you want to do it. The idea of doing even eighth notes, again, it's the end of the piece, it's a little bit of contrast, and we're slowing down. And as you slow the pieces down, these jagged rhythms, as I call them, tend to smooth out. So it just works out that way. So you get the hands working separately, and go put them together. That's another week or two worth of work. All we're interested in is coordinating the hands here. Bring out the melody if you can. You want to try adding some dynamics at this point, you can. I'm going to hold off. Let's just get the hands to work together. At the beginning on page 50, 1 and 2 and 3 and. Second line. Maybe you don't have to go that fast. You can take it really slow. The third line. So I can slow this down here. Now hold all that down as you play that eighth note, and then come down. Last line on page 50, here. Top top of page 51. So now it's just one note in the right hand. But the rhythms are different with the hands here, so you gotta watch out here on the. Just go through this top line on page 51 real slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Just however many times you gotta go over it. Now again, one hand at a time again if you have to. Just take your time with this. Second line here. 1 and 2. Remember to rest in the right hand in the last beat of the second line. Let you move down here, and then we do this. We've had this melody before. Last line. They want a 2 on that last G because of what's coming up. Because you're back down here on page 52. There, second line on page 52, look out. Second measure on that line. 1 and 2. Right there. So that second line is here. Hold that C down while you do these. So third line. 1, 2. Last line. Now again, remember in the right hand, those last two notes on the third line is 1, 2, 3. They're pickups to this. We got to connect them. Now, again, the last two beats of page 52. We're connecting these to what's coming. So now watch out here because the harmony doesn't want to fit. It's got other notes in it, so look out. The first measure on page 53. You're here, and then here, and then when you come down here, that's an E in the right hand. Here, and then here. So watch out. First ending. Then you'd repeat back over to page 51 and have some more fun with all that. Well, let's go on. Second ending here at the bottom of page 53. Now here, where you got to come from here to here. How you do it is up to you. Just do it. With the left hand, it's not so bad because I can go from here to here. I can sort of feel it. It's the right hand. When I'm here, I gotta go down to here. So. And you're slowing down. And then that's got a fermata on it. You'll hold that out for a little while and thank the good Lord you got through the piece in one piece. Then you get all that worked out. Then you can add the pedal. Finally, see, I've done all this without pedal because I want to hear the notes and I want to hear me holding the notes down with the fingers, not relying on the pedal. Now we'll add the pedal and see if we can use the pedal to enhance the sound and not get in the way of the sound. The way they're doing pedal, they're just overlapping everything, keeping it simple for you. Well, let's look at it. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to go ahead and add the dynamics because I haven't done that yet. So we'll talk about that too. Maybe a little bit of interpretation. Of course, the interpretation stuff comes way later. You got to learn all the mechanical stuff. Pedaling, fingering, dynamics, articulation, all that stuff. And then once it's kind of comfortable for you and you're not thinking about that, then you can think about the feeling the music is giving you. And try, if you'll feel it, you'll play it, is the idea. Now, one thing I have a tendency to do, and I think a lot of people do, is as you're playing it, you'll tend to speed it up. I do that a lot. You probably noticed. So you have to fight that. You're just constantly catching yourself, and that's where a metronome comes in handy too. If you're playing with a metronome, and if you can stick with a metronome, it can help to keep you down. This is a moderately slow piece. So at the beginning, MF, that's for the melody, which is the top note in the right hand, wherever it is. This first line is a introduction, but it's still sort of the top note in that right hand. Moderately slow is sort of slow. If you were going to sing this, how fast would you sing it? Well, the guy's singing first, and the second line says male, because this is a duet between a male and a female, is what it says, and you can work that out on your own. I'm not going to do that, but just sort of slow, I don't know. 1, and then again, the melody is what we're after. Everything else has to be lower, softer than that. So it's keep the left hand soft. And on these, I tend to keep these down. These are like an afterthought. So in the first measure, it's this. That's then this other one, this other part, I come down a little bit, kind of a medium soft, and then that's louder, and then medium soft, and then I lift the pedal here because I want to break in the sound between the introduction and when the actual piece starts, and then on the second line it starts here. Pedaling pretty much every beat from this point on. I pedaled it like they said to pedal it in the book on the introduction, but for this part, every beat I'm pedaling it. If there's a few exceptions to that, I'll get to it. So every beat. Third line down, second measure at the end. I'm pedaling it with the harmony. They showed to do that, so it's okay. I just don't like the blurriness in the third measure, the first line, or the third line, first measure here. But I'm putting up with it to keep the pedal simple. I mean, the idea is you don't have to pedal that first beat at all. Take the approach to the pedal if you want is don't pedal anything unless you just absolutely need it to keep the legato. But we'll go ahead and do it the way that the book is showing for now, and you can adjust the pedal on your own later on as you get to know the music better. So last line down there is here. Here at the top of page 51, the first line, the last measure, I don't pedal the fourth beat. I want to hear the rest in the right hand, and I don't need the pedal for that. So I'm connecting it with the fingers, so I don't pedal the fourth beat. So the first line again on page 51. beat on the second line. I want to hear the rest in the right hand, and I want these to be clear. So the second line, second measure is here. And now I have a break in the sound before I go to the third line, because it's a whole nother phrase. With a change the pedal with a harmony, like the book is showing, before you go on. And then you get to the page turn. Now you have to deal with a page turn. If you don't have it memorized, you got to turn the page, or you get somebody to turn the page for you. How do you do that? Because both hands are busy. A couple of ways, and it's up to you. You'll figure it out. But the beat goes on. You can't stop the beat. You can't hesitate. You can't slow down or nothing. You just keep going. So what you can do here in this last measure on page 51 is, once you play the right hand, leave the pedal down for the rest of the measure. It'll get a little blurry, but you can, and then use the right hand to quickly turn the page while the left hand does the end. If you don't like it blurry, you'll have to change the pedal, but you'll lose the G. And if you don't mind that, that's okay. Then turn the page that way. Or you play this measure the way it is, and on the next line, when you play the first chords, once you play the left hand chords, then you use the left hand and to turn out, leave out the notes in the left hand. After you play the chords, so you get the harmony, then you just go ahead and use the left hand to play, turn the page, and the right hand keeps going. You'll lose the rhythm in the left hand for just a little bit. It's your choice which way you want to go. But the page turn happens twice if you do the repeat. So at the top of page 52, we're back to our first part. The second line, the second measure, at the end of it, I don't pedal the last beat because I want to hear the rest in the right hand, and I don't need the pedal for the pickup notes to the next phrase. So the second measure, the second line, is here. And then you'd repeat it. They don't give you hardly any dynamics. There's a little crescendo of the third line on page 52. You can get a little louder, not a lot, just a little louder. So you're going to have to get to know the piece, and then you'll feel it. Or you can listen to the recordings, and when do they get louder and softer. So let's go back and finish this up here on page 53, the fourth line down, the second ending, here. Now you get medium soft. Now you're getting softer, you slow down. And then up here. And that roll, you can adjust how fast you roll that chord. It doesn't have to be really loud. And then you hold it out until you get tired of hearing that mess. And then you lift the pedal and the hands at the same time. It's a nice piece. It's a rather difficult piece, but it's a nice piece. Give it a try. Learn it the way it's written first. Then if you want to go improvise and change things here and there, go for it.